Yeah.
So an example we had was there was what we call a low and slow attack, right? And so I say we get 1 trillion logs a day. Really bad things can pick up really. We've got lots of rules that we use, and we can pick up really bad things really quickly. But of course, hackers know that, and so they do it slow and slow. And so in this particular instance, they were trying to attack a particular IP address. It was like 6 times in 1 hour, in one day, and then 6 hours the next day, the next day, the next day, the next day, and so slow and slow, trying to keep under that radar. But using AI in our tooling, we discovered that there was a repeat pattern going on that one of our analysts would never have been able to pick up on because it's just far too much data. It's finding that needle in a haystack. AI helped find that, but then using human intelligence, we then managed to kind of trace all that back, and we managed to trace it back to Starbucks in New York City. Other coffee shops are available and being used by hackers, but in this case it was a Starbucks in the middle of New York City, and so we could pinpoint exactly where it was coming from.
And then what?
Well, that's down to the organisation. We
just give the
we give the facts. It's up to them what they do with that. But yeah, and so AI has a place, right, on both sides. In fact, I'm talking at the International Cyber Expo in a couple of weeks just on this.
Nice.
And so it's got its place. It's really good. It's really important. Can we rely on it completely? Well, not yet, and probably not for a long time.
I think it's the same in my industry as well.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been strikes in Hollywood because of AI.
Yeah.
Because it was replacing.
I was reading about the
writers and
actors that were getting
and the actors
used. They got paid for their hour of doing whatever, and then used lots and lots since. Yeah. It's interesting talking about kind of actors and AI. In doing some research for this speech that I'm giving, there was a company. It was in April this year. The company hasn't been named, but and it was, I believe I'm right in saying it's Hong Kong, but it was a financial company, and the thing with AI video at the minute of people is it's very, very good, and we've probably all seen examples online. It's great, but there are often delays between if you like, the avatar being spoken to and responding. And there's things like the way that someone blinks is just not quite right. Right? It's just not quite. And again, hackers are smart, intelligent, clever people. And this financial services business, an employee got an email saying that they need to do it's $25 million, I believe it was, to another company. But it has to be in the lowdown, it's secret, no one else needs to know about it. And so the employee rightly thought, someone's trying to have me here, and just ignored it. He then got invited, and this would blow your mind, he then got invited to a video conference call. But bear in mind, lots of information is in the public there, right, about organizations. What the hackers had done was, it wasn't a video conference call with one exec. They'd done it, there was 7 or 8 different execs all in the video conference call. Every single one of them was a synthesis. It was AI generated.
No.
And the reason they did that is going back to what we talked before about social engineering. So it gives him confidence, because actually, no, it's not just him, we're all at it. And because it's multiple, those kind of delays, they're all kind of masked, because you've got lots of people potentially commenting, making noises, and so you're distracted, and so you don't pick up on those little nuances. And so he was sucked in, and he transferred $25 million, and that was that. So I don't know what the output of that is. I don't know anyone knows the outcome of that yet, but that is a fact, and that's the first modern evidence, or absolutely factually correct that it's being used. Now, again, that is extreme, and that's targeted. it wouldn't surprise me at all if that was nation state, or certainly a really large group. But no one knows. I can't. No one can say for sure. Certainly not at this stage. But it happened. And your script kid in your bedroom, he ain't doing that.
Okay, what about when an ethical, are they called white hat hackers?
Well, ethical
hackers,
white hat hacking, all the same.
What about when it's a hacker targets a company, but it's done for the right purpose? So does anyone remember a particular dating company that promoted illicit affairs?
Yes.
So this has recently been on a very popular streaming service, the documentary about it, because it had millions and millions and millions of subscribers, and it was causing so much destruction to families and marriages.
Social engineering, right?
Yeah.
So the hackers knew there's little money in from the organization themselves, especially because advice is not to pay. But what they were clever about is, it's not you that we're trying to. You might be the conduit, but we know all your clients.
So for those that don't know the story, what happened is with all the subscribers that were on there, they were promised by the owners of the company that on the website it's all fully secure, details are safe, this is completely confidential, you can have all these affairs, people will never know about this. And you had some famous people on there, you had some politicians on there, that you found out later on. And then there was a hacker that came along, got details of every single name of subscriber and where they were from, all the information, even their payment details, threatened to release it if they didn't hand over the money. They even flew in top cyber people from Europe. They thought that they met with who the hacker was, but it didn't turn out to be the right hacker. But anyway, they were given a certain period of time to either shut down the company or they would release all the data, and knowing this would be global because of the people who are involved that were having affairs. And so that's exactly what happened. They didn't pay, they didn't shut the company down. It wasn't about money, and then obviously it caused further destruction with all the names, and some people took their own lives because of the destruction that it caused. But is that ethical hacking or is that not? Because it comes down to morals, doesn't it? Is that ethical or is it not?
No, in my book, it's absolutely not.
But neither is having affairs.
Neither is having affairs, but absolutely.
A company that promotes that.
But two wrongs don't make a right.
It's very true. It's true. But it's a good debate.
But I think it comes back to anything you do online. It is much wider than cybersecurity, but it's a general principle. Anything you do online, you should just treat exactly the same as anything you do offline, right? Be sensible, and if you're going to do dodgy things on the internet that you know are wrong, you're probably going to get found out at some point, either through routes like that or someone looking over your shoulder, right?
And you can't believe always what website says, but it says fully secure.
Yeah, exactly.
They even paid extra to have even extra protection on their details, and it said on the documentary later on that was a complete rubbish. They were just taking the money. There was no extra protection. There wasn't even, for a company that size that had multi-millions of subscribers, there was hardly next to no security in place for it, apparently.
And it's a whole attitude thing, and I come back to whether you're a small business or large enterprise, you must be proactive. Got to be proactive, and if you don't know, speak to an expert, because using the example of the organisation around the affairs, there's lots of things that they could have done. They chose not to save money, and then without naming the industry, they got obliterated ultimately because no one would ever use them again, right? And it's the same thing in other industries, in that reputation matters. Whether you're one-man band, small business, large enterprise, it's what people see of you. And so therefore be proactive. And yes, the things you have to do might well differ, but the theme is going to be the same for either you're a large enterprise or a small business. And talk to an expert, and as anyone in the industry worth their salt will give you tons of advice for free.
Or can you not just hire another hacker to out-hack them?
Well, you could, but it's a whole cat and mouse game, right? It's a cat and mouse game, and again,
if they destroy something, can't you just like pay out a really good hacker and be like, look, go and destroy what they've done? But then you said two wrongs don't make a right.
Exactly.
But tempting, I'm sure.
Well, it is.
If you've lost 25 million, I think people have lost their lives for a lot less.
Yeah.
Maybe don't post that.
So yeah, but it is it's just the same as offline, right? It's just the same in the real world, and you've got to be sensible about it. And it seems, it'd be ridiculous me hiring 10 bodyguards to follow me about wherever I go, in case I get beat up by some random stranger. In real life, obviously don't have any of that, couldn't afford any of that. But what I don't do is go to, some dodgy bar in the early hours of the morning and start trying to pick a fight with someone. You got to apply common sense to it. And only by doing that will you get effective security in place at a price that you can afford.
Yeah.
But you'll be amazed at how much you can get for very little money, and I'd say lots of stuff's free.
Okay.
So yeah.
So you're able to list like top 5 free stuff that people can use if they don't have the budget?
On the spot. So DMARC is which I mentioned before is one, and along with that is DNSSEC, which is very similar. So it's DNSSEC. And both of those are free. There are lots of tools out there. Just Google it that can help you set that up. As I say, if not, contact a company like Foxtech, and we can help you with that. Second, and this sounds like a blatant plug, but genuinely, it's completely free. Our cyberists will know what your issues are. Unless you know what your issues are, you can't protect yourself. So get in touch. We'll run cyber risk. You can have your report. It will tell you how good or bad, tell you what vulnerabilities you got, and we'll give you kind of plain English advice on what to do to resolve that. Clue yourself up on phishing. If you see anything that remotely suspicious, don't. It's free. Microsoft, lots of Microsoft tools are really, really good now. I think they rightly had a bad reputation before. But over the last 10 years, Microsoft really upped their game. And if you have got Microsoft Defender, which is their kind of antivirus, and Microsoft Firewall, use it, set it up. It's free. It's included on, I think I'm right saying every Windows operating system is included.
What did you say the checks on the stuff was called?
BPSS.
BPSS. And that's
£100. It's about £100.
Okay.
Again, there are lots of organisations out there that do that. You can't do it as an individual. I suppose you could, but it'd be very hard for you to do as an individual. But there's lots of organisations out there that do it. Again, just Google it. BPSS check, and you'll get a whole string of companies.
Okay. Do they have an equivalent in the States, or is this global?
BPSS is UK specific, but there are very similar checks in every country.
Yeah. I think that's key as well, just to ensure that the people that you have
it's insider threat.
safe and secure.
Absolutely. Um,
And so, how would someone contact you if they want to find out more info?
That's good. I like it. So easiest thing to do is just drop us an email. You can find us at our website or direct, and it's Foxtrot Technologies. So it's foxtrot-technologies.com and info@foxtrot-technologies.com if you want to get in touch directly.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me. And hopefully it wasn't too boring.
No.
I hope.
No, it's fine. It's really good information for a lot of people. So, yeah, thanks.